So the screen is visible for you guys and the audio is also clear, right?
Yes.
Oh, okay. So what we will see today is we will see how we can do API chaining. What is API chaining? And we can also go and see in Postman what is data-driven testing and some of the authorization in Postman which Postman offers. So let's get ready with these topics. So API chaining, I have just wrote down a description of what that means. So what happens in API chaining is that a part of a response of one API will be used as a request in another API. So I will just show an example over here what it means. Let me just open up a whiteboard. Okay. So let's say if we are using our employee API which we created, right? Which we created our own API, this employee API, and let's see we are using a post request for that. We are hitting it a post request. Let's say this is named as a request 1. So what will happen? We will provide all the valid datas in the body of post and it will go to the server and it will create a employee ID. So it will respond back with the ID, right? Let's say the ID is 10 or something. So we will get one response back. So this is request 1. Let's call this as response 1. Okay. So now if we extract this ID from this response body and use it into the further APIs. Let's say we use a get request and we extracted the ID out of this response body and provided it to the get request. Again, we are hitting the employee server. So now this time it will respond back with all the datas of this employee with ID 10. So let's say this is called request 2 and this is a response 2. So what is happening over here is that response 1 is getting linked with request 2. So we are extracting the ID out of response 1 body and we are using that particular ID in our request body for get method. So this is what is called API chaining. So one of the APIs gets one of the APIs, or you can say the values of the response body gets linked with one of the request body. So this is what is API chaining. So you can see that it makes a chain and that is why it's called API chaining. So basically, just a second. Okay. So is this clear? The concept is clear why it is called chaining and what we mean by chaining. Like this is a high level overview of what is chaining is, and we will go into the Postman tool and we will try to achieve this scenario. So basically we will have to use a variable concept in API chaining because whatever ID we will get, we will have to store it in some of the variables and then use it into our get method. So is this clear what is chaining and how the flows are kind of linked with each other? So
Yes.
yeah, this will be the definition, a very you can say a very basic level of definition. So this is what is API chaining. Part of a response of one API will be used as a request in another API. So just keep in mind because in interviews there are a lot of questions like what please explain me what is API chaining, and in that case you can just uh, give this definition and also you can explain it in this particular manner, like if we have a server and we are using a post and then how we are extracting the response from one of the APIs and using it in another API to get further details. So this whole linking is called API chaining. Now what we will do is that we will achieve this in Postman and we will see how we can do this in Postman. So let me this is the project which we created for employee APIs. I will just duplicate it to get the APIs there. Let me see. Okay, where is? Okay, duplicate. right? Let's rename it as API chaining project. Okay. Now we will just remove some of the uh, requests which are not required. So we don't need the all employees. We need to create employees. So I will keep this, and also we will delete the employee once it is created. So first we will create employee using a post request, then we will get the details of the created employee, and then we will delete it. So we will try to link these three APIs so that once we run a collection, an employee will get created, and then we can fetch the details of the created employee, and then we can go ahead and delete the employee. So this is what we will try to achieve. So let me first run up the server for this API. So let me check where it was. Think it was under day 7. Yes. Okay. Just use command and hit JSON server and the name of the JSON file. Okay, so now the API is up, and let's see. Okay, now the API is running. Yes, and now we will create a particular employee. So this is the URL, and let's see what body can we pass. So let's say I pass over here as test day, let's say test day as a name, and job as job demo. Okay. So when we fire this, 404 not found. Okay, because okay, yeah, the path was not correct. So yeah, it created one record with ID 5. So now what we will have to do is that we will have to somehow extract this particular value from the response body. So for that, we will have to write some test scripts. So let's go to the test section, and over here, we will have to first parse the JSON body. So I think we can just take up the scripts from somewhere. Let's see. I think here we have the script. So let's first parse the body. Let's say post body data. So this will particularly parse all the response body, and it will store in this particular variable. And now what we can do is that we can create a collection variable to store this ID value. So how we can do that? We can go to snippets, and here we have several pre-created test scripts. We can use that. So I think we have to set a variable, we have the set method. So I will just use set a collection variable, and it will automatically generate the script for that. And here variable key, this should be the variable name which we want to store. So let me take it as ID value. Okay. And value. So particularly what we need to store it as a variable. So I want this ID 5. So for this, I will have to get the JSON path till ID 5. So just copy this entire thing and just go to JSON path finder and get the path for ID. So it's just dot ID we have to provide. So from the JSON body, just write dot ID. So it will just navigate to this particular value, and it will extract the 5 out of this, and it will store it into the ID value. And this will be a collection variable. So it will be set at the collection level. So now let's check if this is running as expected. Also, what I will do, I will write a test script to verify the status code. So let's see, where is that? Status code is 201. So let's say status code as 201 and save this. Now let's run this request first. So okay, now a new ID has been created with these particular datas, and the ID is 6. And what are the test results? So status code is verified, and also these two scripts must have been successful, and we should see one of the variables created under collection. So this is the collection. Just go over here and we can see that we have a variable ID value, and the value is 6. So this is also working fine. So now how we can achieve the chaining? Let's see. So just go to the details of a user, and here we have to place the ID for which we want the details. So basically use the curly braces and use the variable which we just created. So now if we send it, we will get back the same fields which we created. So this is what chaining is. We are basically going and extracting the value of ID, taking saving it into the collection variable, and in another request we are using the same value, and then our API is returning the result. So this is what is the concept of API chaining. So I will also write down some tests over here. Let's say I will verify the status code. Let's say, okay, should be. So let's say I will verify the code. And let's say for delete, the same thing, we will have to pass the ID. We can use the ID value and we can just send it. So now the delete will be also successful. So this particular record has been deleted. And also delete is returning 200. So it's better if we verify the status code as well for delete. So this is how we achieved API chaining basically for this particular API. First, we created we created one employee record. We stored it in a variable, and then we kind of use the get request. We use that variable to get that particular employee, and then we used delete to delete that employee. So this is API chaining. And also at the end of the delete request, we can go ahead and write one script just to unset the collection variable. So as of now, you can see that at the collection level, this variable is there. So if we want to remove this variable, we can write a code over here. So basically go to so this is the last API which will be used for deleting. And apart from that, I also want that the collection variable should get cleared up. So for that, we have a clear snippet over here. So you can clear an environment variable, clear a global variable, clear a collection variable. So these things. So just click on clear a collection variable and provide the key of the variable. So here it was, I guess ID value, or let me check what was the name. Okay, ID value. We'll go over here and let's clear this. So now let's run again. Okay, it's not found because that record is not there and the variable got cleared up. So this is how we can achieve the chaining. And now if you go over here and you can just run the whole collection, and just see if everything is working as expected. So post request was sent, then get got executed, and delete got executed. We can also verify it in the console, like what was sent in the post. So here we can see that we got the response body. Okay, and in the get as well, we can see the response body. Okay, ID 6 and delete. So again, the same thing was deleted. Where's the response body? Yeah, the record was deleted. So this is how API chaining is done in Postman. And once the use of the variable is no more used, we can go ahead and unset the variable so that next time whenever we will run, so a fresh variable will be created, and at the end of the script, the variable will be removed from the session. So this is one of the things in Postman. So this is what is API chaining. So any doubts on this, or if you want me to again go through this? Uh, you got the things, Arup?
Yes, Vinesh, it's
Okay.
clear.
Okay.
Yeah.
So I will just let's say I will paste this script maybe in the chat window so that when you guys practice it, no, it will be easy for you to grab the scripts. So these are just from the snippets, so it's easy to get these scripts and use it. Okay, so this
Uh,
was, yes.
Avinash, in chat window, it's not available. Like after the session, I cannot find that exact program, exact code. It will be
Okay.
automatically vanishes.
So can you just copy it from
Copy.
the chat and
Okay.
place it on your notepad if possible? So
Yeah,
that,
yeah. Okay.
or
Okay.
even what I will do is that let me provide it in the document itself so that at the end of the day, I will share the document and you can get it from this.
Yeah, that will be.
Yes, so that I will do. Let me see if there was some more scripting part. No. So, okay. And this is the script to just unset the variable. So these are basically present in the Postman snippet. You can just go ahead in the Postman snippet and explore these scripts. So they have just provided all the scripts which are used much often in the testing. So these are you can get all these things from the snippet. And yeah, this was the chaining thing in the API. And now let's see what is the data-driven testing in API. Okay. So for data-driven testing, let me do one thing. Let me make a duplicate collection. Okay, just rename this as employee API data-driven testing. Okay, let's save it. So what we will do over here is we will try to post or create employees, and we will drive this creation from an Excel file or a CSV. And what will happen is that, see, in post, what body we pass, the name and the job. So basically, we will create a CSV or Excel sheet with these parameters, and we will place multiple datas into that, and we can through Postman, we can link that particular Excel sheet with this particular API, and we can run the collection. So each time it will pick up the data from the Excel sheet, and it will go ahead and hit this particular API, and it will create the multiple records in our database. So this I will show in this particular video for this data-driven testing. So for that, what you will have to do is that just open up any Excel on your system, and then just create two columns for the parameters which we want to send it via the Excel. So we have name and job. So let me define two columns over here. Let's say name data and job data. Okay. And here, let me put some data values. Let's say it's test one. Okay. Job, let's say it's job is tester. Okay. Let's say now the second data will be test 2. Let's say test 3, 4, and 5. Okay, so these are the values of the name parameter which we want to push from this code. And also, let's say for these three, the job is a tester, and for them, let's say it's a developer. Okay. So just create a Excel of this sort and save it. We have to save it as a CSV. So let me choose one location. Save. Let's say this is my test data. Okay. And or better, it's better to go for a save as. Click on file, go as save as, and let me choose any location. Let it be on the desktop. Okay. Let me call it as test data. And here in the type, just select CSV, CSV UFT8. Just take it as a comma separated values and save the file. So now just close it. So now we have a test data file, which is a CSV file, and it will just look like a Excel, but these are comma separated values. So we have prepared the test sheet. So I will just note down. First step is to step one. Let me just step one is to prepare the test sheet as CSV format. Okay. Step two will be to use the variables to drive the data. So here what we have to do in step two is that basically go over here and name, just put two double quotes, and we have to provide the same name. Let me open the sheet. Okay. So for the name section, we have to provide this column header value. So it should be name data. Oh, just a second. So in name section, we have to provide the column header value of name field, and in the job section, just provide the value of the job field in two curly braces. So this is how Postman will get to know that these are some variables, and it will in turn get to know that these variables are placed in this particular Excel sheet. So it will each time it will go to this particular header or column, and it will try to fetch the records from here. So name data, it will help to get these particular values, and job data will help to get these particular values. So that's why we use this particular format. So let me also use this over here. Use, or better, place the column header name as variables. So in this format, we have to modify the body and then just save it. This is done. And let's say we also have this test. I will just verify the response also as well. So just save it. Okay, and now it's time to run our data. So basically just go to this collection and click on run collection. Run collection. And here we have an option called data. So in variables session, we had seen that there was a variable called data. So this is that. So just go to this particular data section, click on select file. And from here, we will have to choose the CSV file which we created. So it was on desktop, and this was the file, I guess, test data. Just open it. Okay, so now you can see that it changed the iteration to 5 on its own. So it got to know, Postman got to know. So there are around 5 datas or 5 rows in the Excel sheet. That is why it changed the iteration on its own. and it successfully uploaded the sheet as well over here, and it got to know that it is a CSV file, and just click on preview. This particular page will pop up, and this will Postman will kind of confirm you that this is the order in which it will execute. So it got to know that there are 5 data rows, and also it detected that what is the name data, what are the 5 names which we have to use, and what are the 5 job parameters which we have to use. So if everything is kind of uh, done successfully from your end, you will get these things. So Postman will automatically update the number of iteration count, and it will also give you a preview option to get these things in place, like what number of iterations will it run and what are the test data it will use. So this is the thing, and then just go ahead and run the collection. So all the collections will get run, and here I have all the tests as passed. So all the status code is as expected. And what I will expect is that these particular IDs should get created into my database or the JSON file, which we use for the testing. So I will just go to my path where I have placed the JSON file. So it was under day 7, and I will just try to open it, let's say with a notepad. And now see that, yeah, from here, Postman successfully, we got the post request successful, and all the data's got created in my JSON. So it is for, let's say, ID 5, ID 6, ID 7, ID 8, ID 9, ID 10. So around 5 datas are created. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So maybe, okay, so this was created earlier. So from here to here, all was created from the CSV which we created. So this is one method to drive your test from the Excel file. So this is how we use the Excel. And there is one more approach. Let's say it's approach 2. And here we can use a JSON file to drive the data. Yeah, we can use a JSON file uh, to drive the data. So is this clear how we are using the CSV file and getting the data into Postman? Let's say
Yes.
this was method 1, where what we did is that data driving from CSV. And in method 2, we will use a JSON file to use the data. So it's the same, nothing different is there. So the API is running. So let me do one thing. So here we use a CSV, and now what we will do is that, let's say save. We'll use a JSON to drive our data. So for that, let me go to the, okay. Okay, now we will have to use JSON to drive the data. So what we can do, we will just we need a JSON path in that case. So let's open up ChatGPT or something, and we can say that, just let me know. Okay. So here is the test data. Now I will just get it converted to a JSON format. I will just please provide JSON format for below data. Let's see, and just paste the file, and it will give you the data. So we got the CSV, we got the JSON. So just copy it, and now we have to save this in a JSON format. So I will just go to text to JSON converter, and just paste the text which we got generated from ChatGPT, and just download it. So now it's downloaded. I'll just go to my download section. So here just I will rename it as data driven from JSON. I will just rename this file, and now the same thing, just go to Postman and everything will be there as it was. Just again go to the collection, run the collection, and this time okay, so now this time what we have to do is in the data section we will just place that JSON file which we created as of now. So just go to the place where it was downloaded and use it. So now again it took the JSON file, it automatically calculated the iteration as per the number of test data. And here, if you can click on preview, you will get that what it fetched from the JSON data file. So it got that it was 5 iteration, and these are the 5 users which we want to create. And then again, you can go ahead and run the collection. And once it is successfully executed, we can again go back and check that these particular IDs are created uh, in our server basically. So just go to that particular JSON and open the notepad. So now you can say that another set of 5 datas are created. So from these 5 datas, these got generated from the JSON file. So this is also one approach to do the data-driven testing. So is this way also clear, like how we use it from the how we kind of driven that particular data from the JSON format?
Yeah,
Or means when you will try to do it on your own, no, you will get a better understanding of the whole flow. So just try to watch the video and do it on the same things, and you will get to perform it on your end.
yeah, and it is using ChatGPT, right? For the
Yes,
upload, after upload.
I use ChatGPT basically to get a JSON format
JSON
ready
format.
for this data. Otherwise, you will have to what you can do is that you can also uh, write it on your own, but it will take some more time to do that. And here, ChatGPT can just give you the responses in a means quickly. So you can just copy this and use the online tool. So this is the text format, but we want in the JSON format. So we will go to the online tool to convert that text to JSON format, and we will download it. And then in Postman, we can upload that file. And once we do that and run the collection, it will automatically get to know that we want to use 5 test datas, and it will run the scripts accordingly. So this
Okay.
is around the data-driven part of Postman. And
Can you mention that also in this notepad
steps. Okay,
steps?
let
Mhm.
me mention. Okay, steps. The first step was, let's say, create a JSON file having test datas. Okay, and here we can take use of ChatGPT. And I will also paste this data over here. Let me do that. Let me close this. Okay, copy the code, close this, paste it. Okay, so you guys can take it from here. And then this is step 1. What will be the step 2? Step 2 will be the same, and everything from step 1 onwards will be same. So we have to change the request body so that it is having just a second. So this is step 2. Just use below, you can say request body. And step 3 will be step 3, run the collection and select the saved JSON test file, and this will do your job. So it will trigger, it will automatically read all the values and it will run the request those many times. So is it fine, Sandhya, to have these steps?
Yes,
Okay,
Anish.
okay. And what we have now is authorization in Postman. So Postman offers various authorizations. So in Postman, you can go to any, let's say any request, and we can see that there is a authorization window over here. So in the earlier sections, we discussed that what is the main difference between authorization and authentication. So this is the authorization. And here authorization, you can see that we have a type section, and when you will expand it, you will get to know that these are the major authorization which Postman offers. So basically no auth, API key bearer, JWT, basic, digest, OAuth 1, 2, and these things. So these are the various authorizations which we have, but in project majorly what we use is a bearer token, basic auth, or digest auth. So I will try to trigger one of the request, and we will use bearer token in that case. So we will see how where to place the tokens and how we can get those tokens. So let me go over here. So to test the authorization part, we have one site over here. I can say a fake API site is it is a fake API site. So you can just go ahead and open it. It's called GoRest. So here you can create any number of users and those things, and all those values will be stored in a database. So it's not a kind of a temporary API, but it's used to generally generate fake datas and real responses, and it's up every time. So 24/7 it is online and running. So and how to use it? So here this is the main server name. So you have to just I'll just open our notepad. So this will be the server name and these are the endpoints. So to get a user, this is the endpoint. So basically, if you combine it with this particular value, and you will be able to get a user with ID who is having ID of 628320. So this is for the get. And similarly, we have post, put, and delete. So in this API, get is you won't require any token to get the details. So if I just go ahead and hit this API, it will fetch me the results. Yeah, you can see that this particular person created this ID. So we won't need authorization in this case. But if we are using anything other than get, like post, put, and delete, in that case, we will have to first authorize ourselves. So that is the uh, authorization in Postman. So let me just go over here and create a GoRest project. So let me create it from scratch. Let's say I take it this one, GoRest, or just create a duplicate. I will name it as GoRest Auth project. Okay, so I will delete these things. See, we don't have anything over here. So now we can create it from scratch. So let me first create a get user request. Let's say this is get a user. Okay. So what is the URL we will use? This is the server name, and for get, let's say this is the endpoint. Just copy this, paste it. Okay, now if we hit the save or the send, we will get the responses back. So let me write the status code verification as well. Okay, and save this. So this was for a get user. So now if we want to create a user, right? Let's say create a user. So for that, we will have to go with post, and let's check what is the endpoint. So first put the server name and then the endpoint. This is the endpoint. Okay. And now it will have a body as well, right? A JSON body. And what will be the body? So let's say in get what we were getting back. So these things. So basically the same will be a body for creating a user. I will just paste this, and here ID won't be there because this will be generated by default. And apart from that, we can take up the things. But here we have to ensure that what the values we are using are kind of a unique. So if we are having this name once, it won't create it again. So let me just take some random values. Let's say test something, or a better one, test day 9, and let's say YT. Okay. Email also some random value we can take @gmail.com. Let the gender be female and status be inactive. And now let's do a send. Okay, I have saved this, and now let's go for send. So now we got a message that the authentication failed. So this is 401 unauthorized. So the thing is that we are not having the enough permission to use this particular post request. So in earlier we have seen what these codes mean. So this 401 is unauthorized. So basically it won't let us enter into this particular request. So basically we have to provide some kind of authorization over here. So to get the authorization here, it uses a bearer token. So for that, what we have to do is that just go over here, and here is a section, get your access token. So just click over here, right? And it will ask you from where we want to log in. So let's say I want it from Google, and take any email. Okay, and it will generate a token for you. So this is a bearer token which we will have to use. So just copy this token, and we have to provide it. So now this was a post request, so we can go to the authorization, and we can go for a bearer token, and here we can just paste the token which is generated and save it. So now if we try to hit the post or a create functionality, so this time it should work. So now you can see that it created a person with ID this and all the parameters which we passed in the request body. So this is how this API will work. And to trigger a post request, you will need an authorization. So basically it will work on bearer authorization, and here you will have to generate a token and then pass it. So this is how we can achieve this
Ash,
authorization. Yeah.
how you generate the token? Can you tell me once again?
How to generate the
Yes.
token? Okay.
Yeah. From
So
where?
yeah, when you will let me do one thing. Just go to Go REST, okay? And you got the kind of endpoints and how we are using these things, right? But here is, if you can scroll a bit down, you will see that you will get a link to get your access token. So
Okay. Okay.
basically, anything if we want to use apart from get, like post, put, or delete, we will have to get the access for that. So just click on get the access token,
Mm.
and here it will provide you these parameters. So whether you want to log in via GitHub, Google, or Microsoft account. So
Okay.
you can select anyone as your convenience. So I went with Google, and there it will just ask you for your email ID, And once that is done, you will get this digits as a token. And then you can basically go to the authorization section. So basically token, once we receive the token, we can either go to the request, and in request also we have various sections. Go to the authorization, and on the token type select a bearer, because what we generated as of now is a bearer token. Paste the token, save it, and use it. Or else what we can do is that we can go to the collection itself. So this is the collection. Go over here. Here is also a authorization tab. So if we click on authorization and we say that we have a bearer token, right? And if we paste the token number over here and save it, so now this token will be applicable to all the APIs. So now we don't need to have the tokens over here. So basically in any request by default, there is a type called inherit auth from parent. So it means that just go and inherit whatever authorization is defined at the collection level. So now we can go over here and just tell him that just inherit it from the parent or inherit from the collection itself, and save it. Now also this particular request will work. Okay, so
Got it.
this was not processed because we should not have any duplicate values for field email, right? And this is how we can define the authorization even at the collection level. If it is defined at the collection level, then we don't have to go and individually put the authorization for the request. It will generally inherit from the collection itself. So this is the one thing around bearer token. And let me once again check. So okay, and just we have seen how we can get the bearer token, right? So these are the other tokens which are basically there in Postman. So if we go over here, we have various tokens, and it's self-explanatory. Like if it's a no auth, then basically it does not need any authorization. So we can just go ahead and use it. So this is something like we don't need any special token or anything special to access the APIs. So by default, it's a kind of a no auth. And basic auth is that if you want to access any API, you will have to provide your username and password. So this is a basic authentication. You will have to provide username and password. And digest auth is a modified version of basic auth. So in digest auth, again, we will have to provide username and password, but the thing is that the password will be kind of encrypted, so that no one else can get to know what the password is. So in basic auth, there is no encryption of password. So anyone, maybe a hacker, can get your password easily. But in digest auth, the password will get encrypted or hashed. And if a attacker will try to get your password, then he will have to basically decrypt it, which will be a time consuming task for him. And so to prevent hacking, it's better to go with digest auth. And bearer token, so we have seen we will just get specific digits of values once we try to uh, enroll into the site, which we got for the go rest case. So let's say what was the token. I will just copy it over here. So these kind of digits will get generated once you try to authorize yourself on the site. So this is each time we will have to use this token to access those APIs. And there is one more thing which is called OAuth. So this is open authorization. And what it means that this is not it won't be much used in your real-time project. Basically you will either go with a basic auth or you will go with a bearer token. So what is OAuth? I will just provide you a brief understanding. So it enables you to access your data by allowing one application to borrow your credentials from another resource or application. So many a times we see that, like if I just go to a incognito mode, let me open up. Okay. So let's say if I went to Canva, let's say, yeah. I went to this site. So you can see that we have two options to sign up or login. So if you click on login, you can see that these are some you can say the Google or Facebook or email. So we can log in via these things. So if you have a Google account, you can just click on login me with Google. So basically, once you do this, you will have to provide your email ID and those things, and you will get logged into Canva. So this is happening via OAuth, because in Canva we are not creating any profile, right? We are not providing our username, password, and those things. What we are doing is instead we are logging with the help of Google, where we already have an account. So Google is verifying that uh, who we are, and it's helping Canva to reach out with the services. So this is what is a OAuth. And basically in projects, this bearer will be used most of the times, and a basic auth will be used in the testing field. So once the applications are in production or on some higher environments, then they will go with OAuth, or they will provide a better authentication for the users. So these were the things uh, for this particular today's session. So any kind of doubts you have on these things, or you want me to repeat some of the flows which we carried out today?
It's
No.
clear.
Okay, I will then what I will do is that stop the recording and share the recording with you guys, and also I will share this combined WordPad which we had for, I guess, a day 8 and 9, and you can just go through these things and practice it on the Postman, and let me know if some issue or blockers are there.
Sure.
Okay, okay then.
Thank you.
Thanks all. Have a nice day. Bye.
Thank you.